Hello to all my friends out there. So this is Mornings with Rhoda, and I'm doing chats at night, but I'm not posting them until the morning. Okay, I was planning on making some sausage gravy, but this coronavirus thing is kind of making me lose my appetite, and I just don't feel like eating that much. So, I made 4 cups. See how icy cold my tea is? Cold beverages will cause the inflammation in your brain to reduce. The headaches, it gives me headaches. Okay, so yesterday I went through, I had potatoes, onions, and apples. So, let's see. I dehydrated my apples. These are pretty good. You could add these with some nuts, or you can rehydrate them in some warm water and make some tarts. I dehydrated onions. I dehydrated potatoes. And I made breadcrumbs. No wasting. That's not happening. Okay, now let's do some critical thinking about this coronavirus situation. Okay, in California, it's now a quarantine, basically. I think we can still leave a little bit, but if you don't leave and catch it, if you don't have it now, or if you don't bring it into your house, you stand a better chance of not getting it. So the more you can sequester yourself, even though it's rather unpleasant, the better off you're going to be. So, okay, so what I did was I made myself a tasty loaf of bread. Here it is, easy to make. See, I ate this little crust. And so, what I have is I have peanut butter, I have honey, and I have my homemade bread, my homemade butter. Okay, so here's my homemade bread, and let me give you the recipe. I've made this a zillion times on this channel. I've had this recipe, I don't know, ever since I've been doing YouTube for sure, and long before that. Most of the time I worked all the time, so I mostly made it like on holidays. But this is a really nourishing bread, and it's really satisfying. I've been getting bread free at the food pantries, and I'm really, really grateful for the food that I got at the food pantries, but it cannot be compared with this homemade bread. So, if you can get food that's more satisfying, it's going to be much better. Where's my stuff? So I'll just cut off a little piece just to demonstrate. I'll just cut off this little. I use my gold medal premium flour, but they have pretty good flour at Dollar Tree. I've stockpiled plenty of it. And then I bought heavy cream. When I saw this virus thing, I said, oh no, you don't want to be caught without good fat. So I stockpiled a few of these. I bought them for 99 cents. I also bought a couple of boxes, the 1 pound size of butter and margarine. But the homemade is good. And so this is going to give you a little good fat. I don't think this is really a good time for dieting, to tell you the truth. I really love just to eat this with honey. Also, this would make some awesome French toast, you guys. So here we have it. So, this will do with some eggs. Okay. remember, God provides. That's really true. On my birthday, got really, really sick. And then by the end of the month, I discovered that $125 of my Social Security was gone. So I called up and I got EBT. I went to the food pantry 4 times. And I went to the senior food bank 1 time. And I still have a majority of that food. And we'll get into that in a minute. Okay, so there's this coronavirus looming out there, and the potential is it could infect 57% of Californians. Now we can't go to work, and what is our job now? Our job now is don't get the coronavirus. Because chances are, if this massive population gets 57%, of this population gets a coronavirus, it's going to be really, really bad. Basically, there's going to be no health care because the health care is going to be overrun. And then what happens when the health care providers start getting it? So the main job is don't get the coronavirus. So what I'm doing is I'm just not leaving the house unless it's absolutely and completely necessary. I can refill my water at an outside kiosk. This morning I walked around, as soon as the rain let up, I walked around the neighborhood because if you're older, you've got to exercise. But I didn't go to the shopping center. That was pretty successful. Number 2, just start in now with a bare minimum life. Don't take a chance on running out of resources. Don't even think about running out of food, losing your dwelling. Say to yourself, okay, the best way to make sure that I don't run out is to be very, very conservative with all my resources. As for another reason, so I don't have to go out and get more. I think one of the reasons people might get the coronavirus is because they've got to go out into the disease to get provisions. So the bare minimum living would be water, food, and heat. You do not want to let yourself get cold. Okay, if you should find yourself in some very bad circumstance with no heat, you're going to have to call 211 and try to secure help because you really will die if you catch pneumonia. Don't spend any money. Just get by one day at a time, best you can. Don't spend any money. I mean, if you need stuff, you gotta buy some stuff, but just try not to. Try to eat down all the food you have. And another thing is you might be going, well, you're terrible, you're so cheap, and you're so awful. Yeah, that's true. If you can get free food, if you're poor enough, get the free food. Also, if you are a senior and you call 211 in your area, they will deliver the food to you. Get the food. Don't clown around. 57% of the people are expected to get the coronavirus. So you want to say, okay, wow, man only leaves like 43% of us that are not going to get it. Okay, so if they'll deliver the food to you, if you can call 211 and figure out how to get the food, this is really good. Get the food. Don't be stupid. Don't go out, especially if you have some kind of, some kind of condition that would make it easy for you to pick up the coronavirus. Call 211 if you need milk for your babies, diapers, or wipes. Stay as clean as you possibly can. Take out the trash every single day. The trash, cough into your napkins, or if you have any, and throw them straight into the trash can and wash your hands. So keep your trash out and keep your dirty clothes in garbage bags. Today I was washing all my clothes. Or keep your dirty clothes outside or your garbage outside. One of the things that I'm doing is don't open the refrigerator. You know, if you're not opening your refrigerator that much, no germs can get into the refrigerator. Keep your bathtub clean. If something happens, then you can fill your bathtub with water. Keep your car full of gas, just in case, God forbid. Pack some food in case you have to evacuate. I did a lot of car videos. I know a lot of you were following me back then. And you can eat 1 can of food a day. You know, I used to be able to buy the soup for 50 cents, and I bought 31 cans of food. So go through, you know, a can of vegetables is a can of food. A can of Vienna sausages is a can of food. Okay, so keep your canned food kind of packed up and ready for evacuation. Okay, get nourishing food, but cheap food. I will give you some examples. These are $2.99 and these are 4 meals. You can make sandwiches, you can make tuna casserole, you can make, you know, the salmon like I did. This is basically cheap food, Albertsons. This is good. I got 2 of them. Boy, I'm glad I did too. This is cheap food, turkey bacon, if you're a hater of pork. This is very, very cheap food. I will make gravy out of this. And this is cheap food. And then, if you have, I don't know what I did, but I have 1 package. If you have 1 container of yogurt and you have milk, you can make yogurt. So you'll have dairy. So if things start getting really, really bad, I'm pretty sure they're going to deliver food if you're a senior. Okay, so now what? So buy cheap food, but buy nourishing food. So if you had sausage and you have gravy, or you had a bologna sandwich, or you had a peanut butter sandwich, or you had some salmon, and if you have a little lettuce, you know. Okay. Right now is not the time to be picky. Consider combining resources if you know someone trustworthy. I took a lot of science classes, and really it was a big waste of time, but I did learn a few things, and one of the things I learned is the sum of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So if, say, 2 or 3 of you families could put your resources together, your entire resource is going to be more valuable. For one thing, you're each only going to be paying a portion of the rents. You're going to have more food, etc., as long as they're not the type that are going to infect you with the coronavirus. Refill your water right away. Yeah, you cannot live without clean water. Try to eat the food down, the food that you have down. This is where the stockpile comes in handy, because you can go for months and months and months without really having to buy food. You know, and if you're very careful with your resources, you know, you can go for quite a while. Don't shop at stores with lines. You know, there's a few stores that I have habitually shopped with that keep you waiting in line, but I won't be going there no more. And then if you can wash everything out, all the small items out by hand and hang them up as you go, that's going to save money. Okay, prepare to live in your car. Let's say, you know, the worst comes and you have to live in your car. But if you have a sleeping bag and you have food in the trunk, food, water, cash, toilet paper. I never thought toilet paper would be such, you know, a lot of places now, you got to take with you toilet paper. You know, one time, I really didn't understand this at the time because I'd never been through such a thing. My friend and I, you know, we were young, and so she goes, "Oh, Ruthie, my boyfriend bought us a trip to Mexico City." And I said, "Well, I won't go unless you go with me, with us." And so he's got us both tickets to Mexico City. So I go to my mom, "Mom, can I please go to Mexico City?" And my mom goes, "No, you cannot go to Mexico City. What are you, stupid? Something's going to happen to you." So I go to my friend, "Well, my mom says I can't go to Mexico City." So this other boyfriend of hers and I and her, we go to Tijuana to cash in the plane tickets, you know, and get the money. And so we decided to buy, we didn't decide, they decided to buy a fine dinner with the money there in Tijuana. And so when I went to the restroom, they had a person who dispensed the toilet paper. And I thought, wow, wait, you know, what is this? You know, you got to give them a quarter. Well, now I realize it wasn't about the quarter. It was making sure people didn't take off with the toilet paper. So that was really gross. And, you know, of course, the bathrooms were awful. I used to go to the racetrack down there. It was vile, too. So you have to be careful because they don't necessarily... I told you, I think it was yesterday, I was in a bathroom and the sewage was coming up the sink. Now, that was nasty. Okay, so now let's think about this coronavirus, okay? 57% of the Californians could catch the coronavirus. Okay, the top 20% probably aren't catching the coronavirus because they have less risk factors, but they still could catch it if they're careless, like if they have been traveling overseas. So the top 20%, that takes care of them. Okay, the bottom 20% is probably gonna catch it. That would be the street people, the old people, the sick people, the poor people. So if you fall in any one of those categories, street people, old people, sick people, or poor people, take advantage of the social services. Call them up, get the food, get it delivered, because you are at a high risk for catching the coronavirus. Like 100%, you guys, us guys, will catch it. That leaves 60% of the population left. Okay, that leaves 17% of the coronavirus. So I did cross multiplication. 14 out of 50, I reduced 7 out of 25, 3 out of 12, 1 out of 4 people in the middle portion can expect to get the coronavirus. So basically, if you're poor, expect to get it. So you're going to say, I'm not leaving my house. Are you kidding me? I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I don't get it. And another thing is, if you are in this, okay, is it Italy? They just decided, well, we're not saving the old people. Well, what do you think is going to happen to the street people? I don't even want to think about it. Poor people. They're not going to be probably given any medical. And then I wanted to mention another thing that I see as very dangerous. For some reason, I think fires could happen. So you want to watch out for everything that could possibly cause a fire. And the other thing is car accidents. When my ex-husband died, one of the nurses I know said to me, "Ruthie, you got to be very careful for a year. Because a lot of times when people have been under a lot of stress like this, they'll have a car accident or they'll get sick." So it'd be the same thing, any stress like this. A car accident, sick. When you're under stress for a long time, that'll really kill you quick. And then after this is over, if and when, and then they say expect a second wave, I will tell you, For the rest of my life, if I live to be 100, I will have so damn much toilet paper packed in my house that it will last 10 years after I am dead. That is so unsanitary. So, okay, you guys, that is my input for today, and I will be back later with some, if I get hungry, if and when, with some sausage gravy. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and if you have anything that we should be alert for, please leave it under the comments so we can all take advantage of the comments, you know. Every time you get in your car, you know, just pray, God, don't let me have an accident. Okay, you guys, God bless you all.